Hi, my name is Jurgen. I'm Hannah's dad, who was one of the child performers in the new production Hold Tight by the Vincent Dance Theatre Company. Hannah is really naturally a musician and singer. That's her primary passion, and she's always enjoyed the challenge of being on stage. We've been fortunate that she had been selected to perform in several West End shows. She was, at the age of 10, had the lead role in Matilda for 6 months. That was quite a challenge at the time. And after that, she was selected for the world premiere of the new production of The Prince of Egypt, also in the West End, which unfortunately came to a premature close due to COVID when that came about. She sings every day, and she sings for fun for herself. She gets voice lessons. She's constantly learning new songs. But she also enjoys acting, and I think dancing is sort of a concomitant part of that. She came to be involved because we discovered there was an audition for it, and we always encouraged her to audition for all kinds of things. At first she was reluctant, because she always says, "Oh, I'm not a dancer, the other girls are so much better than I don't want to do this, I want to do this," but then we should try it anyway. And then afterwards it turned out she had a lot of fun actually on that day, and we were very pleased that later on the call came that she might want to try and be a part of this new production. I think it's been a real eye-opener for Hannah, because she hasn't done anything like this before. She was used to a very structured productions. Sometimes I call it very militaristic almost. Like for Matilda, there wasn't anything that was not scripted. Every gesture, every movement was fully scripted. The music is fully written. The lyrics are fully written. The whole thing was already there, and she has a fantastic memory, so she memorizes quickly, and then she can reproduce very well. But the idea of doing something where the rehearsal, if you want to call it that, is actually part of the creative process of making it happen, was completely unknown to her. And I think it was a bit of a shock for her when she first was doing that, but I think she's enjoyed it overall. In the beginning she was startled because she didn't understand how can they do this? But I think she's felt very integrated into the whole process, and it's made her maybe feel a bit more equitable with the other people that she was working with. I did have a sense that for her, she felt very close to the group. It's a serious subject matter, but I think she always had fun with it, and I think there was a playfulness to it that she enjoyed, and that's been a good. I think it's been a good learning experience for her also to sort of say, well, I can help mold things rather than them being given to me. I think that was a really good experience for her. That's right. I remember she coming home. She was talking about how they were doing some kind of a nursery rhyme. I think they're going to use that, and so there was a real excitement about being part of the creative process rather than being in a recreative process where you're being told every step of the way, do this, do that. It's like, well, let's try this all together as a group, and I think that was a very constructive experience for her. I think the difference is that she has more of a sense of ownership of what's come out now, that she was part of that. And of course, we know now that you're not having a completely new show every time you put it on stage. Things are pretty much structured now, but she was part of that, and so she has a real ownership of that, and I think that's a good thing. In the final 3 days of the devising process, she had an unfortunate twist of the ankle on the stage, and so I received a phone call from Charlotte that afternoon, and of course I was, oh, well, what can you do? Hannah was very upset about that, because she was very much looking forward to being part of this production. She felt that the whole thing was now in doubt, and she's really committed to it, was really committed to it. She's always very, very committed to that. But she was also very excited. It was very different from what she'd done before. So that was a bit of a problem. Now, then while she was recovering, the thing kept evolving in her absence. I've seen her act under pressure in a number of situations like that. And so I've always told her, you're a quick learner, you can do this, you can pick it up. And I think ultimately she believed that, but she was very keen to come back to the show. We just tried to say, we'll just have to give it a few days, I'm sure it'll be fine, we'll go through the physio, and we'll just take it one step at a time. And so she was very responsible about doing what she had to do, what the physio told her to do, about icing up the injury and keeping her leg up. And So because she didn't want to have this one slip away. I think she was a bit apprehensive. I remember before the first show, but she likes to exaggerate a little bit. She said the whole thing is going to be a complete disaster. Nothing worked. It was all terrible. And so that was a bit of the pre-show excitement. But I think she deep down she knows. She knew it would be okay, and that the whole thing would come together. Yeah, I personally had confidence that she was ready for it, and I was pretty pleased to see her in it. I sort of had a sense of what the whole thing was about, and it's very interesting for me as a parent to see her in something that is so completely different from what she's done before. And I think it's been a terrific experience for her to broaden her horizon, to have a different performing experience. Matilda has very serious aspects in it, but it's also just a good night of fun. I'd say that Hold Tight is fun of a different kind. It's not the kind where you tap your toe at a jolly good time. It's a more serious subject matter, and for me that wasn't good to see that and to see her confront things like that and sort of become more of a young adult in the process as well. We all know that our kids had an interesting time, to say the least, during the COVID pandemic. And she understands that there's an aspect of that, the sense of isolation, and that nothing was normal, and how do you deal with that? The subject of war is on everybody's mind at the moment. They see that in the news. They see it being talked about. At the same time, she's sort of in this in-between stage between being a child and becoming a young adult, and how do you process that? And she doesn't always say what she feels, so you sort of have to infer how she processes things sometimes. I think she internalizes sometimes. What I did see and what I did feel is that, yes, everybody knows it was a serious subject matter, but everybody also knew that you're all doing this together, and there was a fun aspect to it. There's a playfulness to it in the work and coming up with ideas, and then there was some silliness. Sometimes I had a sense that was part of it. So that you don't lose sight of the fact that you're all in it together, you're all supportive, you can have fun doing it. But when you see it all put together, yes, it's very serious. Would I have taken my kids to see it as simply as an observer? I'm not sure I would have. But in combination with the production company and the support that all the other parents also seem to be giving, I think we managed that quite well. And I think she's happy about it. She's happy about what she's achieved. Well, there's this scene of I have to say it, is violence towards her that's being acted out. That's even physical violence. It's pretty gut-wrenching to see that, and these are things that children in this world experience, and I think I feel very fortunate to believe that she's been fortunate not to have experience that in her own life. But it's very impactful to sort of see that this kind of stuff actually happens, and makes you think about that, and also you have some gratitude that you've managed to escape that kind of fate. How I've been trying to see it is just looking at physical movements on stage and what kind of emotions they invoke, and just let those allow those emotions to come up, and so see the physicality of that. I noticed the spatiality of the sound. That it's not stereophonic, it's really spatial. I thought the soundtrack was excellent. It was very evocative, and it worked very well. This one song that this girl, it sounds like a girl is singing, which is very much out of tune, but later on it's being played on the piano and you hear the pitches exactly, and so I figured, okay, that must be the actual tune. I thought it was very effective. This is the way also children would sing, and it's not about being pitch perfect, but it's about how the music comes directly out of you. So it's just there's a rawness to it, and I thought it was interesting. That worked very well. It was very effective.